What is the ideal time for you to practice yoga? That's what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm Harsha Nagaraj. Welcome to Harsha Yoga. See, there's no ideal time as such for practice of yoga if you are living an urban lifestyle. If you are living in a monastery, if you're living under a teacher, if you're a disciple of a particular guru, and then you're undergoing the sadhana, the process of growth on the path of yoga, it's a different scenario. That's a different case altogether. If you are living in a urban society, urban life in a city, and there are a lot of things that you have to deal with, then the importance of time with respect to practice of yoga drops. Yeah, it is definitely essential that you practice yoga early in the morning before the sun rises. That's when what we call as the Brahmi Muhurta, or early in the evening just before the sun sets. But considering the kind of work that you do, considering the lifestyle that you lead, and the responsibility that you have to address your family, look after your family, and all the other things that you have piled up in your life, doesn't matter whether you practice yoga in the morning or in the evening. You have to allot the time either in the morning or the evening. That's all that matters. In the initial stages, it's very difficult for you to even take out 1 hour in a day for you to make sure, okay, this time I allot for myself for the practice of whatever it may be. If it's not yoga, it can be something else. It's very, very difficult, and I completely resonate with you. In order to get this discipline in your everyday routine and say, okay, 1 hour is completely dedicated to me. Why? Because you have a lot of things that you have to attend to. Even taking 1 hour and completely cutting off from everything that is there, especially the phone, it's highly, unlikely for most people. But if you are a morning person, go ahead, practice yoga in the morning, and continue to have that same amount of energy throughout the day. If you can't allot time in the morning, early morning practice, it's not impossible for you because of the responsibilities you have. Practice a bit late in the morning, say about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. But make sure it's very essential that you have this peace of mind when you practice. You shouldn't come to practice and say, okay, this time is all I have, and then you push even over there. It doesn't make any sense. When you allot a particular time and dedicate it for the practice, completely forget about everything else that you have. You will definitely have a number of things to do till you die. That's nothing different about it. But when you dedicate this 1 hour for the practice, make sure the entire 1 hour, body, mind, everything is dedicated towards the practice. And if you're not an early morning person, if you can't practice late in the morning, then if you're an evening person, because I myself, in the first 6 to 8 years of my sadhana, early morning practice was out of question because of the studies that I had to do. So evening was the best time for me because the evening time was most suited for the body that a kind of inflexible body that I had and the kind of mindset that I had. And you have to remember one more thing. Early in the morning, if you aren't used to practicing yoga or any kind of physical routine, your body is very, very, very stiff. Becomes very stiff in the morning for you to practice even the advanced postures. In the early stages of my sadhana, I used to do all the advanced asanas early in the evening, say around 5:30 to 7 o'clock, or sometimes 5 to 7. By doing the advanced asanas later in the evening, the body would have become loose because of all the activities that we have done throughout the day. As a result of which, the advanced asana comes much easier. So if you're someone who wishes to grow on the path of sadhana, on the path of yoga, and reach the state of perfection, you have to do a lot of trial and error. One method as such won't suit everyone and anyone. You have a different body type, you have a different set of mind, you have a different work life, you come across different kind of people. It's all completely dependent on you and you alone. But in the initial stages, first take out the time at any point of day, at any point of day, morning, late in the morning, or early in the evening. Take out the time, practice, and then buy time because of all the trial and error that you do over the years, over the months. You yourself will start feeling, okay, I need to do the practice at this point of time, this point of day. Then, only then, you'll feel the vigor and the valor that's very, very essential for anyone who practices yoga. By the end of the practice, you will feel so invigorated with a lot of energy. You feel more alive than ever before. A lot of trial and error goes into this. It's not that I'm not telling you that you'll figure this out within a couple of days or a couple of months. A lot of trial and error goes into it. Even for me to inculcate the habit of practicing early morning didn't come overnight. I practiced early in the evening for almost, as I said, 8 to 9 years, close to 9 years itself. And then now I have moved my practice to early morning. But I have a couple of friends who started from the very first day early morning, and they've been continuing it for even to this day. A lot of trial and error goes. Trust your instinct, trust yourself, and have faith. Eventually, by time you are going to reach there. Everything is going to take time. It is a process of growth, and there's going to be a lot of conflicts within you. It sometimes becomes very difficult for you to maintain the continuity of the practice. It doesn't matter. Every one of us goes through it, but you decide what is it that you wish for. You want to stay in this miserable life and not have this peaceful state of mind, and you do you really want to develop the discomfort of you being in yourself, or you want to be free when you are in yourself? That's exactly what you have to think about. And that's what the practice of asana and the pranayama is going to help you with. You accepting yourself and being who you are and looking forward to growing ahead. That's very, very essential if you are a human. And I'm 100% sure all of you are humans. And this is a very deep urge that each one of us have within ourselves. The ability to accept where we are and to push ourselves to a stage where we aspire to be. Inspiration sometimes may not be innate. You have to keep inspiring yourself. You may reach out to people for inspiration, but even that has a limitation. Why don't you take up a journey, take up a habit where you inculcate the habit of inspiring yourself? Even the smallest habit of waking up early in the morning, or doing one or the other chores that you haven't been doing over the years. You've been just pushing the tasks for years together. Start completing it. Once you plan your day, everything becomes easier. Forget about the duration, forget about the specified time that you have to allot in a particular day in order to practice yoga. Just practice whenever you're free in the beginning. Practice yoga at the time that you feel it's convenient for you. Morning, sometimes even afternoon, or early in the evening, late in the evening, doesn't matter, because each one of you lead a different lifestyle. But after a couple of months or a span of 1 or 2 years, everything will start to become disciplined. You start leading a disciplined life, then automatically a call comes inside you. Okay, I can't practice at this point of time because why? I have to attend to a lot of other things. Indiscipline is one of the biggest hurdles for you to not practice not just yoga, to do a lot of things. Since you're not able to allot time specifically for a particular routine, it becomes miserable for you. But once you start allotting and saying, okay, this point of time in a day, I'm going to be completely focusing on the practice of yoga, and then rest of the day, I'm going to focus on everything else. Forget about what point of day you want to practice yoga. Just start practicing it. Morning, evening, afternoon, doesn't matter. Over the years, your body and mind have the natural ability to autocorrect itself, and you'll get there's a system within you. Trust me when I say you have a system within you which is going to tell you, okay, this is how you have to be. This is the time of the day you have to wake up. This is the time of the day you have to eat, sleep. Every one of us have the system in us. And we also call this as biological clock. But why isn't it working? Because we're completely disconnected from it. You are completely disconnected from it. Even I was disconnected from it. The more you start to establish the connection within yourself, the clock starts to work. Remember one thing, all of us are of different natures. Some will be a morning person, some will be an evening person. Doesn't matter. What you get out of what you practice, that is all matters in the beginning. You want to practice yoga in the morning? Go ahead, practice in the morning. Want to practice late in the morning? Most welcome. If you want to practice early in the evening? Go ahead. Late in the evening? Go ahead. Just practice. Start the practice so that you can connect to the biological clock inside. Once the connection starts to establish, everything starts to make sense. You don't even have to think about being disciplined. Discipline becomes a way of life. So this may sound crazy, but I'll be honest with you, this is the truth. I have experienced and lived this for years together. Forget about the time of the practice, start the practice, and by time you'll figure out for yourself what is the best time for you to practice yoga. Let me know how you felt about this in the comments below. I look forward to sharing more in the upcoming videos.